Good morning. Well, we're beginning our course, JUS 261, Judicial Administration. This is our Learning Module 1 video. As I noted in my written announcement accompanying this week's module, each week I'm going to prepare a short video to go into either more detail than the written announcement, or perhaps address the topic from a slightly different perspective, or to just to talk with you a little bit. Many people learn better by reading, so I will always have a written announcement at the beginning of each week, but a lot of people also would prefer hearing. We don't have the luxury of meeting together in a classroom, so I don't get to lecture you as in a traditional class I would be able to do. I don't get to answer your questions in person, but I will talk to you in these videos as though we were in a classroom, and of course I always welcome your questions. The best way to get me to answer your questions quickly is to email me directly, or to write a question on the general discussion board. Both your emails and the general discussion questions will automatically feed through to my cell phone, so I get them immediately. And I try to answer them as quickly as I possibly can, unless I'm driving or, otherwise can't simply answer your questions. Let's talk a little bit about the structure of the course and about what I expect from you. What I expect is effort, and I'm sure that all of you are prepared to give that, or you wouldn't be here. The form that effort takes is to take the discussion board topics seriously, to do your assignments and your discussion replies on time, and to get everything done on time, to engage with each topic and with me and with your classmates. That's very important. You know this already. This is probably not your first course at Southern New Hampshire University, so you're aware of the expectations. If ever you have any questions, or if you need extra time, if something's happening in your lives that prevents you from doing things on time, listen, just ask me. The worst I can do is say no, and chances are I won't. So just ask me if you need extra time, if you need extra help. I'm here for you. That's my job. Let's talk a little bit about the suggestions that I made in my written announcement as to how you should approach the assignments in this course. I have to grade you. This is my obligation. I have to grade you in accordance with the grading rubrics. I don't have a choice in that. Therefore, you should use those rubrics to structure your assignment responses. If you fail to address any aspect of the rubric, then you get a 0 on that aspect. And I don't really have the option of not doing that. I don't like to give bad grades. You probably don't like to get them. So use the rubric, please. It takes a few extra minutes, but believe me, it's worth your time. Not just for grading, but also for structuring your answer. It also will remind you of what's important about that assignment, or what's important about the materials that we've been discussing in the module. Now, what about this module? We're talking this week about basics, the basics of how the federal, not state, federal court system is structured. Now, we will get to the state court systems, and when you do get to them, you will notice that in most states, the basic 3-tier structure is repeated. Most states will have a trial level that will be called the first court of record in that state. A court of record means one that actually produces literally a record, a transcript of the trial, a written decision by the judge that can then be reviewed by a court of appeals. You will note in states they also have lower courts that are not of record, things that like small claims courts or traffic courts. Those we will not really discuss too much in this course, although we will touch on that topic from time to time. The second tier is what's called an intermediate court of appeals. That is true. It's intermediate between the trial court and the highest court in the country, which is the U.S. Supreme Court, or in a state system, the highest court in the state, which will be that state's Supreme Court. And that can go, in states, that court can go by lots of different names. It's not always called a Supreme Court. The Intermediate Court of Appeals, though, both at the state level and at the federal level, is nearly always the last court that most people see, for several reasons. It gets very expensive to keep appealing after that intermediate court, and it also is extremely time-consuming, especially in the federal system. It takes, if you have never dealt with the federal court system, that you may find this hard to believe, but it can take years and sometimes decades to get from the trial level in the federal court system to the United States Supreme Court. Most people don't have that kind of time, and even if they have the time, they don't have the money. It's very expensive. It's also a gamble because the United States Supreme Court is the only court in the country, the only one, there's just one, that gets to determine its own docket. Now, as we go on, you'll know what docket means, but let me just give you a preview. A docket is the list of cases that a court is considering in a given term. Other courts take the cases there that come to them. They don't get to choose which ones they hear and which ones they don't. But the United States Supreme Court gets to pick and choose the cases that it will hear. It's the only court that is allowed to do that. So let's say that you are engaged in a federal case, civil or criminal. You lose. You appeal to the United States Court of Appeals. You lose again. And you wish to have your case heard by the United States Supreme Court. Chances are excellent that that's not going to happen. The court gets thousands of petitions each year of cases that would like to be heard by the U.S. Supreme Court, but it chooses only about 30 cases every year. So your chances of being heard, unless you are involved in something that is constitutionally significant or that involves a dispute among the various courts of appeal across the country, is very slim. So I said all that in order to emphasize what I said before, which is that the Intermediate Court of Appeals is, for most people, the last court that will hear their case and that will therefore make the final decision on their case. You will explore the functions of the three levels of federal court: the federal district courts, which conduct trials. They are the entry point in the federal court system. The U.S. Courts of Appeals, which hear that first level of appeal, and the United States Supreme Court. As you read about them, remember to notice some statistics. How many federal district courts are there across the country? How are they divided? How are they situated geographically? How many courts of appeals are they? How are they divided geographically or regionally? And, of course, the United States Supreme Court, we know there's only one. You should know how many justices there are, which, by the way, at this point is a tricky question. There are 9, normally, U.S. Supreme Court justices, but at the moment we have only 8 because Justice Scalia died a while back, and he has not yet been replaced. So at the moment we have only 8 U.S. Supreme Court justices, but that is, I hope, a very temporary situation. I'm not going to go on much further with this video because I like these videos to be under 10 minutes, and usually there's somewhere between 7 and 10. This one's already almost 9, so I'm going to be quiet, but welcome. Again, let me welcome you. I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns as the weeks go on. If you'd like more or other information in these videos or the announcements, I'm open to your suggestions. Best wishes to you, and have a good week. Bye.